On this episode of the Turnbuckle, Hangman Page has been diagnosed with a concussion after AEW Dynamite doctor stoppage. Ace Steel has been released from AEW. Shinsuke Nakamura is likely to be heading back to NXT. And Tony Khan will have great news soon about some weekly Ring of Honor shows. Folks, it's time to hit an airborne into some wrestling news because it's time for the Turnbuckle. I don't know why I said it like that. AEW released a statement on social media Tuesday evening saying that Hangman Adam Page has suffered a concussion during his match against Jon Moxley on AEW Dynamite. Adjusting the mic, and has been discharged from a Cincinnati trauma center. All right, so this is the tweet that All Elite Wrestling put out. Hangman Adam Page was taken tonight by medical personnel to a Cincinnati trauma center and diagnosed with a concussion. He was discharged but will remain in AEW's concussion protocol. AEW and Hangman Page are grateful for the exemplary response and care of staff and local medical personnel, and are appreciative of the love and support of fans everywhere. All right, so what happened? Hangman Page was injured during his challenge of the AEW World Championship with Jon Moxley on Tuesday's edition of Dynamite, and had to be stretchered to the back afterward. With roughly 10 minutes to go of TV time, Moxley hit Page with a lariat clothesline that turned Page inside out. After he hit the mat face first, the referee went to check on Page and immediately signaled for AEW doctor Michael Sampson to enter the ring. The match was stopped and awarded to Moxley. Cameras focused tightly on Moxley and the announce crew. And the announce crew, as they scrambled to figure out what to do as the fans went quiet. A stretcher was brought out, and the bottom rope was loosened in order to take Page to get medical attention. None of this was shown on camera. PW Insider reported that they were told Page was taken to a local hospital for an examination after being checked out by on-site personnel. Yeah, so very scary stuff. Very scary. So I saw it on Twitter, and a lot of people made the argument on Twitter of, hey, why are you showing this on Twitter? Now, to be fair, I didn't see the show, but I did see the injury, and I do unfortunately have Twitter to thank for that. So on one hand, no, you probably shouldn't be showing people getting injured immediately after they got injured on Twitter. But on the other hand, it gives context to people, who didn't see the show or who missed the show or something like that, or, who just for anybody who didn't know what was going on. So I'm not saying that we should be doing it, but all I'm saying is that it does help. Not me specifically. I'm just saying that I would argue that it does help in some way. But no. To be fair though, I mean, you don't even have to I'm certain you could search for it. I'm pretty sure that you could go on YouTube right now and find a clip of it, some type of fan footage or some type of deal. So it's not as if it's some sort of forbidden footage to look at. I'm sure someone's got footage of it. I understand where everybody's coming from in the sense of they don't want to see it. You know what I mean? Well, you're not gonna know. I don't even remember what it is, but it was that one play that happened a couple weeks back where my man got tackled by his own player and his head bent all the way back. The back of his head touched his back, his spine. And I didn't want to see that, But at the same time, I needed to see it, not in a morbid curiosity thing, but just as I don't know how to explain it. It's not I wanted to see it for my own morbid curiosity. It's one of those things hey, this is what happened to this person. This is what can happen, right? I don't know. I took it more as an informative, type deal than a spectacle, But in terms of Hangman, so they said he's got a concussion. They said he's on concussion protocol. A lot of people are praising AEW because as soon as that happened, that was it. The match was over. They called over the doctor and everything, So I'm glad to hear about that. I hope Page makes a speedy recovery. Obviously, as I always say, right? Yeah, man, it really sucks that had to happen. I mean, I'm glad that it wasn't anything worse. I'm glad that nothing snapped or anything like that. For right now, let's just hope that he makes a speedy recovery and he's at home and his feet are kicked up and he's got the comically large ice pack on his head. I don't want to think anything bad or assume the worst or anything like that. So let's hope he makes a speedy recovery and he's back in the ring sooner rather than later. Next, Ace Steel has been released from AEW. Ace Steel is no longer with All Elite Wrestling. Dave Meltzer confirmed on Dave Meltzer confirmed on Wrestling Observer Radio Wednesday morning that Steel is no longer under contract with the company. So he was officially released yesterday, Meltzer said. So I guess that is the first bit of news out of that whole situation in weeks. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Man. This is the first bit of news that we are getting about this. The first bit. And it isn't even, it says nothing and everything at the same time. Ace Steel's been released. That's it. That's the first drop of this. So I don't even know what the next, that's not even the first drop. The first drop was when Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa and all of them got quietly shuffled back into the crowd, and now Ace Steel's getting released. So it's like, it's these very small droplets of news that are happening. And I would argue that, I don't mean to keep talking about this, but it genuinely does coincide with what I was talking about, in the sense that there's so many legal things that are going on behind the scenes that we know nothing about, and even if someone told us, we wouldn't know anything that's happening anyway. I already told everyone about this, right? So the fact that Ace Steel is just now, how long has it been? It's been at least like a month, at least. No. Yeah. Right? A month? At least a month and a half. And Ace Steel is just now getting released. I think the biggest news that's going to come out is CM Punk getting released. I don't think Kenny and the Young Bucks are going to get released. But to be fair with you, I don't actually know, to be honest. I mean, it could genuinely be anything, in the next couple days. It could be in the next couple hours, seconds, minutes, I didn't know Ace Steel was even going to get released today, to be fairly honest with you. You know what I thought? I thought that it was going to be a big conglomerate of news, not like, snippets of news here and there. I thought it was going to be a big thing of like, all right, here's what we're doing, but no. So it seems like they're essentially going like, all right, we're going to do this first, and then, okay, we're going to sort this out, and then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to do the thing, and then we're going to do that, so he's no longer with he's no longer with Ace Steel. He's no longer with AEW, and I mean, that's it. I mean, I'd never, ever heard of this guy. Ever. Especially when he walked up to CM Punk and then he said the fuck word on TV. And then he just disappeared and then bit a dog. And then that was it. He didn't bite a dog. But, yeah, man, that's it. That's the ballad of Ace Steel, at least for me. I never heard of this guy. If he's on the indies, great. But I had not heard of this guy up until now. So, if Ace Steel's, okay. At the time of this recording, CM Punk is still up in the air. So say what you will, but so far we have not gotten any news about CM Punk getting released or going anywhere else. They said something about, Tony said something about CM Punk being in like an office job or something, but I think that was just him just sort of like talking at the side of his mouth and not actually, like, he wasn't actually saying like, hey, this is what's going on, So, again, we still have to wait. We still have to see what they're going to do. But, yeah, man, that's it. Ace Steel's out of here. He's gone. He's not coming back, I feel like, I mean, I highly doubt we're going to see him again, So that's pretty much it. Next, we're going to be talking about Shinsuke Nakamura and how he is likely heading back to WWE NXT. Sean Sapp reported that there has been some serious talk about moving Shinsuke Nakamura back to NXT. Apparently, after returning from Japan, Shinsuke Nakamura is ready to mix it up again. Former NXT champion Shinsuke Nakamura has been discussed to publicly appear on the brand soon. Nakamura hasn't been featured on SmackDown of late and made a trip back to Japan recently. He has been regularly traveling with WWE. So, this is very interesting. It is. It's very, very interesting. Because if you saw NXT last night, because I didn't, you had Kevin Owens, you had Austin Theory, Shinsuke Nakamura, Judgment Day, Rhea Ripley was in a match, right? You just had a bunch of different main roster guys sort of like jump into the NXT pool and sort of like swim around, and have a rip-roaring good time in there. And now, I think Shinsuke is the one who's really going to be like staying there. And he's going to be doing his thing on there, so he's going to be joining Apollo Crews and all that sort of stuff, right? This is very interesting because you see how NXT is like, you've got the main roster, and then you got NXT. You know that thing with the cups where they got the ball and they put the ball on table and then put cup on ball, and then they got 2 more cup, and then they switch cup around and they go whoop, whoop, whoop. You know what I'm saying? And then they pick cup up, and you're like, oh, where ball go? That's pretty much that. That's what's going on right now. The Shinsuke Nakamura, and they put cup on Nakamura, and then they whoop, 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 and then it's like, oh my God, where's it gonna go? And then they pick it up, and he's like, whoa, he's on NXT now, crazy, you know? So I think that's what's going on. It's very odd that they're still, at this point, I really do not think it's a developmental brand. This is the strangest thing I've seen them do with a developmental brand. Like, but then again, it's like, but this is so weird. Is this what you do with the developmental brand? I guess so, huh? I guess so. I guess it's fine to do that. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing, but it's like, well, okay, but like, isn't this supposed to be the developmental brand? I don't know how to word this at all. Can you tell? I genuinely have no idea how to word this. I'm just so like, I'm very perplexed at the way that NXT is being treated right now, because it's like, it feels like they really want everybody to look over at NXT. That's what I'm taking away from this. They are really trying to get every single person and their grandmother to look over at NXT and be like, hey, look at that guy, and look at that guy, look at that, look at these, you know? Like, it really feels like they're trying to put like a decent spot. But then, you could argue that they were only doing that because AEW was happening at the same time. So, but I hate that. It's like, don't try and like, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, do whatever you want. Okay, I'm not the booker. But like, it's just weird that it's like, oh, NXT is a developmental brand. And then it's like, hey, look at all this amazing and out of the blue nonsense that's going on. Look at that. Look, Shinsuke War and Austin Theory War. You know, like, look at all this crazy crap that's going on. Ain't it crazy? You know, it's like, okay, but so how am I supposed to be watching this show? Am I supposed to be watching this show in the sense of like, okay, that guy doesn't know what he's doing and that guy's here to help him? Or should I be watching this show as like its own like show, like NXT, instead of like the next breakout star, you know? Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to be watching this show, but maybe that's the point. Maybe I'm just an idiot. That could also be true. I genuinely have no idea, to be fairly honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you right now. I genuinely don't know how I'm supposed to be looking at this. It's one of those like, it's one of those art pieces where you're standing on the left side and it looks like one word, and then you stand on and then you shuffle over to the right side and then it's a completely different word. It's like, okay, well then again, okay, but see, that just essentially helped me out there, because it's like, well, it depends on how you look at it. Well, okay, well, if it depends on how I look at it, then I guess I can look at it however I want to, I guess, and I don't have to necessarily sit here and assume, I guess, right? I actually don't know, to be honest with you. Listen, here's my thing. They're really doing a good job with NXT, and they're doing a good job selling you NXT and being like, hey, look over here, check this guy out, you know, but again, it's developmental. I really shouldn't be looking at it like, wow, this developmental brand where it's a bunch of green wrestlers and wrestlers who are still trying to figure out their gimmicks and everything. That's a really good show. But I don't know, man. This is me, okay? I've had a number of bad takes in the past couple weeks. So, again, I could be wrong about this. Finally, Tony Khan is talking about some Ring of Honor plans. Ring of Honor plans to have one more pay-per-view in 2022 and then launch a weekly show in 2023. A new weekly Ring of Honor television series looks close to becoming a reality. An interview with Sports Illustrated that was published on Tuesday. In an interview with Sports Illustrated that was published on Tuesday, AEW Ring of Honor owner Tony Khan stated that there will soon be great news about weekly Ring of Honor shows. Khan said there will be one more Ring of Honor pay-per-view before the end of the year, and Ring of Honor plans to follow that up with a weekly show in 2023. We'll have great news soon about Ring of Honor weekly shows, Khan said. The success of Death Before Dishonor on pay-per-view has ensured there will be more Ring of Honor pay-per-views. Our goal is to have one more great pay-per-view for Ring of Honor in 2022, and then follow that up with a weekly show in 2023. Ring of Honor's annual Final Battle event, which traditionally takes place in December, is likely to be the promotion's last pay-per-view of 2022. Okay. It was announced on Tuesday that Chris Jericho, the current Ring of Honor World Champion, has signed a 3-year contract extension with AEW. Khan told Sports Illustrated that he thinks this has been one of the greatest years of Jericho's career. Okay. So, oh boy. Can I be honest with everybody right now? Can I say something controversial yet brave? I feel like this is not a good idea. No, this is a good idea. I don't think this is something that Tony Khan should be doing, but I think that this is a good idea because if I read correctly, and not from this article, but I think I read somewhere that Tony Khan said he was going to be an executive producer, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like be at the shows, but it definitely means that you have to like acknowledge that the show is there and you have to like, you know, sign some papers and stuff. You know what I mean? Like he has to get involved in the show one way or another. And I feel like he's really got a lot going on, like a lot. He's got a lot to do, a lot to consider, a lot to talk about, a lot of meetings, a lot of notes, a lot of wrestlers, a lot of belts, a lot of programs, a lot of rivalries. He's just got so much going on all at one time. And for a team of writers and bookers and staff members and the live event holders and all that sort of nonsense, right? That's fine. But with a guy like, okay, you know what? No. See, I can't be saying that because, again, I literally just said he's the executive producer. So I doubt that he's going to be doing all that stuff. You know, I'm sure there's going to be like a team of writers and that sort of thing and everything. But at the same time, man, I just can't help but feel like he's just doing like one too many things. I can't help but feel like he really should be focusing on like a main thing and like maybe a side thing. I feel like Ring of Honor and the weekly series, and I think that he's going to be like helping produce the docu-series, and he's got Dark, Elevation, Rampage, Dynamite. He's got all the stuff going on with CM Punk and everything. Like there's so much. It's like, geez Louise, man, like how much of this stuff do you want to be doing? I assume all of it, right? I mean, I feel like he wouldn't really like wear this many hats if he didn't want to. I personally don't know how many hats he's wearing. I don't know if he's like taking a hat off to put another one on. I don't know if he's just used to the way that the hat has molded to his fro, you know? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. But what I do know is that it sounds like a lot of stuff. And maybe I'm just being a little wee baby boy who needs his diaper changed. But this sounds like a lot of stuff for him to keep track of and keep under control. And you know what I mean? Keep sort of like nailed down and everything, you know. And then you have to take into consideration the wrestlers themselves. And they're a whole mess of nonsense to deal with sometimes. You got wrestlers being like, you smell. Oh, yeah, well, you smell. And then you start slap fighting each other. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a lot that he's got to, like, consider and deal with and everything like that. So if I'm Tony Khan, I'm going to go ahead and delegate some of the responsibilities. There's just no way he's doing all this by himself. There's no way. I don't believe it. If you tell me, I'm not going to believe you. There's absolutely no way. There's so much that he's doing right now that if he was doing it all by himself, he would fucking leap off a bridge. He'd jump off a cliff. There's so much that he has to be doing, man. There's no way he's doing all of it by himself, man. I don't believe you. What do we talk about? Hangman Page is injured. He was diagnosed with a concussion. Here's hoping makes a speedy recovery, man, and I hope he's back in the ring sooner rather than later. Ace Steel is released. I don't know what that says about CM Punk. We really have to wait and see. I doubt Kenny and the Young Bucks are going to be released anytime soon. But Ace Steel, I don't know why, but I feel like this is the biggest news to come out of that ever since Maka Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler and all that slowly got shuffled back into the roster, you know. Nakamura is likely to be heading back to NXT. Good. I think that this is good because A, it gives shine to NXT, and B, I say this all the time, if a wrestler wants to wrestle, let them wrestle. I really think that if I'm Nakamura, I'm like, thank God, finally. You know, like, I've been itching to knee somebody in the head, all right, you know, so I can't wait to see what type of match he's going to get put into, you know. And Tony Khan is potentially going to have a Ring of Honor TV show on top of AEW, on top of Ring of Honor as a whole, right? On top of the docu-series that he's going to be doing. Like, it just sounds like it's a whole lot to me. But then again, I'm a little piss baby, so I don't know anything, all right? Folks, that's going to do it for this episode. I want to give a shout out to everybody who stopped by. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. As always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.